Hare Krishna, everybody. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe, Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe, Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gaunitai 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 Jaya Gaunitai, Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Satasri A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नामचर्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा गिरिधारी भगवान की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna and welcome everybody to this evening session of Krishna Katha. We'll look at this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and try to narrate this wonderful pastime in glorification of the Lord this evening. So we'll recite from Canto 8, chapter 3, text 25. And this section, a lot of you might be familiar and aware. Some of you might even have this verse by heart because it's part of the wonderful prayers of a wonderful personality whom we'll be discussing today. Jiji Vishenaham Iha Muyakim Antar Bahischavrittaye Bhayonya Ichhami Kale Nanayasya Viplavas Tasyatmaloka Varanasya Moksham. Jiji Vishenaham Iha Muyakim Antar Bahischavrittaye Bhayonya Ichhami Kale Nanayasya Viplavas Tasyatmaloka Varanasya Moksham. Jiji Vishenaham Iha Muyakim Antar Bahischavrittaye Bhayonya Ichhami Kale Nanayasya Viplavas Tasyatmaloka Varanasya Moksham. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I do not wish to live anymore after I am released from the attack of the crocodile. What is the use of an elephant's body covered externally and internally by ignorance? I simply desire external liberation from the covering of ignorance. That covering is not destroyed by the influence of time. The purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, in this material world, every living entity is covered by the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, the Vedas enjoin that one should approach the Supreme Lord through the spiritual master, who is described and offered prayers in the Gautamiya Tantra as follows. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes, which are blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Although one may struggle for existence in this material world, to live forever is impossible. One must understand, however, that this struggle for existence is due to ignorance, for otherwise, every living being is an eternal part of the Supreme Lord. There is no need to live as an elephant or man, American or Indian. One should desire only to achieve liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Because of ignorance, we consider every life offered by nature to be happy and pleasing. But in the degraded life within this material world, from the life of Lord Brahma down to that of an ant, no one can actually be happy. We are making so many plans to live happily, but there cannot be any happiness in this material world. However, we may try to make a permanent settlement in this life or that. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitami Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Mahavishnu Goswaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So 8.3.25 is what we were discussing today. So in this verse, the personality whose name is Gajendra, he is in the form of an elephant. He has been given, or he has taken the form of an elephant, and he is glorifying the Lord. So the question is, how can an elephant glorify the Lord? Just like we saw in the last pastime of Vritrasur, that a demon, a very powerful demon, a very horrible looking demon of a low birth, he was saying the choicest of prayers and glorifying the Supreme Lord. So similarly, in this context, we see an elephant, obviously a very powerful elephant, is glorifying the Lord with prayers. In fact, from text 2 to text 29 is the glorification of the Supreme Lord, the prayers offered by Gajendra. So here he says that I do not wish to live anymore after I'm released from this attack of the crocodile. So he was in such a painful, such a helpless situation that he's praying to the Lord that after the Lord successfully takes him out of this current helpless, dangerous condition, he doesn't wish to live anymore. Having experienced the frugality, the temporary nature of this material world, he has no desire to live anymore. And it is being said by somebody who was actually enjoying his material opulence, who was enjoying sense gratification. And we'll discuss that just in a few moments. So he says, I don't want to live anymore. And then he says, what is the use of an elephant's body that is covered internally and externally by ignorance? I simply desire eternal liberation from this covering of ignorance. And then he concludes by saying that the covering is not to be destroyed by the influence of time. Because we see in this material world, a lot of things get destroyed or get sorted over a period of time. There's a saying, time heals. But he specifically mentions here that this condition that he is in, or he has realized he is in, is something that cannot be tackled by the influence of time. So he prays to the Supreme Lord to grant him protection and to take him out of this material existence. So who was this elephant? And why is he praying to the Lord? What made him, or what condition was he in that prompted him to say these prayers? So this is a story that happened near the Kshir Sagar, the Kshir Sagar, the ocean of milk. And in the middle of this ocean of milk, now you got to imagine, right? Because all these descriptions in the Bhagavatam is something that is inconceivable. We just cannot imagine, we cannot even comprehend the description that is there in Bhagavatam, because we don't even see anything even close to the description anywhere in this material world, even in the most opulent places in this material world. So it is said that in between this ocean of milk, there was this huge mountain, apparently 10,000 yojanas high and that much long and that much wide. Huge. And these Trikuta mountain, it means Trikuta. 3 means 3. So there were 3 peaks in this mountain. And one peak was iron, one was gold, and one was silver. So 3 peaks. And this mountain was decorated wonderfully with trees and shrubs and waterfalls and many minerals and jewels, and the most beautiful and exotic location that we could ever imagine. And because it was so exotic and such a nice place, all the celestial beings like Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, Vidyadhar, the king of Vidyadhar was Chitraketu, we saw in the last Lila. So all these celestial beings, they used to enjoy in this mountain, sport in the caves, right? And all the wild animals, they used to come and play in the gardens, in the valley of the mountain. And there was a specific huge garden in this hill, or in the bottom of this hill, which was called Ritumat. And adjacent this green area, there was a very large lake. And this lake had obviously very clear, wonderful water. What to talk about our spring water, that was even better. And this whole place, this lake, was filled with flowers, swans, other birds, bees swarming around, and it's an absolutely wonderful location. And the whole atmosphere was so surcharged. So amongst all this, in this wonderful locale, in close to this area, there used to live a group of elephants, and the leader amongst that group was called Gajendra. Gaja means elephant, and Indra means the head, the leader, the Ishvara, the controller. So Gajendra is Gajendra. So this elephant, he was not an ordinary elephant. He was extremely powerful. It is said, Bhagavatam says, that when Gajendra used to walk, this Trikuta mountain that was 10,000 yojanas high used to tremble, just as Gajendra walked. And Gajendra never went alone. He was always accompanied by his huge entourage. All his female companions, his children, all his friends, they were all going together. And as they passed by, this elephant was so strong, so powerful, that wherever he walked, he ended up crushing so many trees. He ended up crushing so many herbs, so many shrubs as he went along. He was so powerful. And in this jungle, there used to be so many wild animals. So when Gajendra actually went, or he was walking through the forest, coming to the lake, or traveling in that area, all the ferocious animals like lion, tiger, snakes, all the ferocious animals, they just would flee away. I mean, it's quite difficult to imagine, because lion is the king of the jungle. So even lions at the sight of Gajendra used to flee away. He was that powerful. And of course, he was the king of that entire wild animal population. So Gajendra one day was walking with his female companions, and just a moment. Sorry for the disturbance. So as Gajendra was walking one day with his entourage, with all his friends, his children, his family, he saw this big lake, and he was extremely intoxicated. And you can imagine, in that area there used to be high quality intoxication, like high quality wine. So the sap of the trees is what he used to have over there, and that intoxicated him. And he was moving along, because he traveled quite a bit. He was a bit fatigued, he was a bit thirsty, so he started moving towards the lake, and he went into the lake and started drinking the water. And the water was so crisp and cool, it satisfied his thirst. He felt very satisfied. And then all his associates who were there with him, the other elephants, they started playing, like how children, they go to the beach and you take a bath, and then you start throwing water at each other. So these elephants used to take water in their trunk and then throw at each other. And so all of them, they took the water and they were spraying on Gajendra, and Gajendra was enjoying it, as you can imagine. So he was having the best of times. He was having the best of material enjoyments and the best of sense gratification at that point of time with all his family. So this was a time when he was at his happiest moment. He was enjoying, he was with his friends, he was the undisputed king, nobody to disturb him, nobody to challenge him. He was at his best, enjoyment at its best. And precisely when he was enjoying completely undisturbed is when danger crept in. Just like we saw last time, danger always comes when you least expect it in this material world. So when he was in the waters, suddenly the king of crocodiles in the water came, saw that Gajendra was there, they were splashing the water, and it's like crocodile's territory. So the crocodile thought that how can this person just disturb mine and come and disturb in my territory. So obviously he was angry, and he actually went towards Gajendra and bit into one of his legs. And Gajendra was so powerful, he was so confident about his strength and the fact that even wild animals run away when he's around, that he just thought, oh, it's just a crocodile. I'll just shake him off. And so he just, tried to get his foot out of the water and just, shake him out like this. And in the past, when he was, he had, had some similar interactions with animals, they just ran away, and somebody who caught him, he just threw them. So he was quite overconfident about it. So when he tried to do that, he saw that the crocodile just wouldn't leave him. He just couldn't get the crocodile off him. And so he, started using a bit more of his strength to shoo up the crocodile and take him off. And then he saw that he just couldn't do it. The crocodile just wouldn't let go. And so he gathered all his strength and he tried to free himself. And the more he tried to free himself, the more the crocodile caught hold of him even more. And like this, when his relatives and his friends saw, they were obviously very surprised. This was Gajendra sometimes was exerting his energy and kind of trying to pull him out. So he used to come out of the water a little bit, but when he came out of the water, the crocodile holding on to his feet also used to come out of the water a little bit, but again used to pull Gajendra down. Again, Gajendra used to pull him out of the water, he used to pull him down. So it was almost like a virtual tug of war in and outside of water. But the crocodile just wouldn't let go. This, Bhagavatam says, continued for 1,000 years. And it's just amazing, very difficult to believe. But that's how long it went. And after the end of that period, Gajendra started feeling fatigued. He was so confident and so proud of his strength, and he just started feeling fatigued. His friends, his wives, his children, they wanted to try and help him out. So they put the trunks around his feet and tried to hold him and drag him away from the crocodile, like a tug of war. But the crocodile was too powerful. The crocodile was just too powerful. He was no match in front of the crocodile. And in a helpless condition, his friends tried to save, but they just couldn't. So when they couldn't save Gajendra, they came to the shore and they just started crying helplessly and pitifully. And in the meantime, Gajendra, he started losing his mental and physical power. Obviously, he was, as much as he lost his power, he was being dragged into the waters, and in the water, the crocodile, it's his natural habitat. So the crocodile was actually regaining his power. And on land, because Gajendra belonged to the land, in the water, he was actually diminishing, or his power was getting diminished. So Gajendra at that point of time felt that although he was so powerful, he's been outnumbered. Even the people that he was proud of, his own relatives, his own friends, couldn't save him. His own strength couldn't save him. All the material opulence that he had couldn't save him. And in that condition of utter helplessness, he thought about the only place where he can seek shelter, and that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Due to practicing devotional service in his previous life, he remembered the practices, he remembered some prayers, some mantras, and about the Supreme Lord himself. And in that helpless condition, he called out towards the Lord in utter helplessness. As Prabhupada says, when we chant, our chanting has to be done in utter helplessness, and then Krishna comes. So he fixed his mind and heart, and he chanted the mantra that he had learned in his previous life, and he started glorifying the Lord. I mean, this whole section is about the Lord's glorification. So he basically touched upon many aspects, many qualities of the Supreme Lord, like he's the root of all existence. So maybe he's the only one who can come and give me protection. Without his direction, we cannot take any step forward. And he said that an animal like me ultimately has to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So, oh Lord, please protect me from this danger. And may the Lord bestow benediction of liberation from the present danger. He was also aware that actually pure devotees don't ask for benediction, but they are just satisfied to hear and chant his glories. But he basically said, I'm in danger. So he offered his obeisances and prayed for his deliverance. And then he had recited this verse whereby he said that I don't want to live anymore. I have seen the so-called opulence of this material world is of no use when actually we need it the most. So in that condition, he told, or he expressed his desire to give up this body and surrender unto the Lord to get himself out of this material entanglement. And obviously he did not evoke the devatas, although that place was of the celestial beings. He prayed to the Supreme Lord himself. And being satisfied with Gajendra's prayers, the Lord actually appeared on his Garud Vahan. And he saw that Gajendra was obviously in a very awkward position. When the Lord came, he came surrounded with all the devatas who were very close to that place anyway. And when Gajendra saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead on Garud, he was he was in a very painful situation. But when he saw Narayan, he was enlivened. And as soon as he saw him, he, with his trunk, took a lotus and offered it to the Lord. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta pranashyati. So this is one of the ways that even though he was in a helpless condition, he offered his obeisances and he offered the Lord a flower. So it is said that when anybody comes to our place, we should offer that person. At least we should smilingly welcome, give him a place to sit, give him a glass of water as a minimum. So such a person who comes to our place is called a tithi. Tithi is time. Somebody who comes not by telling us that he's coming. A tithi, without any time given to us. He just arrives. So such people who come to our place they are considered to be representatives of Narayan. And this is one of the examples that Gajendra, through the Gajendra example, we are learning that doesn't matter what condition we are in, we should always know how to welcome the guest, specifically representatives of the Supreme Lord or the Lord himself. So as soon as the Lord came, he got down from Garuda and he pulled out Gajendra from the waters. Now, when he pulled up Gajendra, the crocodile was held his feet so tightly that even the crocodile came out of the water with Gajendra. And then the Lord took his Sudarshan Chakra and he cut off the head of the crocodile. And finally, after a long struggle of 1,000+ years, finally Gajendra was relieved from his pain. And as soon as that happened, the Devatas, they glorified the Lord. And the crocodile, he got liberated and then went back to Gandharva Lok. So who was this crocodile? This crocodile was actually Huhu, a Gandharva named Huhu, not Haha. There were two Gandharvas, Huhu and Haha. Don't laugh and say Haha. There's actually a name. So in the Gandharva Lok, the Gandharva king was Huhu. And as we see in many other instances, he was enjoying with his female companions in the water, in a lake again there. And in the same lake, there was a great rishi by the name Deval Rishi. He took his bath and he was performing his Gayatri. And this Huhu was playing with his companions, and to impress them, like how a boy tries to impress a girl in an impressionable age, he tried to do some tricks underwater. So Huhu went underwater and he saw the sage standing. And so he just caught hold of the sage's legs, just in a playful mood, and pulled him down into the water. And the sage was doing Gayatri, and he went down the water and he was just gasping for breath, and he didn't know what's going on. And when Huhu took him down, he left him after some time, and the sage came up. And then he saw what's going on. He saw that this Gandharva is just pulled him down just as a plaything when he was deeply meditating on his Gayatri, his daily worship. And obviously he was angry. And he cursed him, saying, "You're a Gandharva, you've got a Gandharva body, but you're doing an activity going under the water and pulling somebody from under the water just like a crocodile does. So you don't deserve a Gandharva body. I curse you, you be born as a crocodile." Then Huhu begged forgiveness. "Oh, Maharaj, please forgive me. It's a mistake." And so he said that, okay, you would definitely take the body of a crocodile, but you will be delivered when the Lord delivers you from this crocodile body. And that's how he became a crocodile and went and was staying in that lake. And who was Gajendra? So Gajendra was the famous Indradumna, not the Rathyatra Indradumna king, but another Indradumna Maharaj. He was based in Dravid Desh, which is the southern part of India, near the Malaya hills. So he gave up he was ruling that kingdom. Then eventually he gave up his family life, retired, and went to a secluded place built a small cottage and was doing his austerities. As a part of his austerities and performing devotional service, he was performing a vow of silence in the forest. So there was nobody in the forest. He was all alone, worshipping the Supreme Lord in this vow of silence, least expecting that somebody would come in that secluded area. And he was pretty much progressing in his devotional life, in his meditation on the Supreme Lord. Just when he wasn't expecting, again something happened, something untoward. This time, Agastya Rishi came with many of his associates. And they saw Indradumna Maharaj in meditation. They approached him. But Indradumna Maharaj was already in a trance. He didn't see them. And when Indradumna did not respond, Agastya Muni, he got angry. And he said, "You don't even know the etiquette of welcoming an atithi, a guest. And you claim yourself to be such a big king. You seem to be completely engrossed in ignorance. You don't know what's going on. You're so thick-skinned that you don't know what's happening around you. So I curse you that you be born as an elephant, covered completely with ignorance." And so that's how, and then of course he pronounced the curse and he departed. So that's how Indradyumna, he became an elephant, and he was powerful. He was quite qualified to counteract, perhaps. But again, like most of the glorious devotees, like we saw Chitraketu last time, like we see Parikshit Maharaj, he took the curse to be the mercy of the Lord. He took the curse to be something that is ordained by the Lord. So although he had the capacity to overturn, he accepted it with folded hands. And that's how he was born, as he took his birth as the elephant named Gajendra. Because he was touched by the Lord, he attained Sarupya Mukti. Sarupya means having the same form. Sarupya, Rup means form. So the same form as Vishnu. And he finally was liberated. And then the Lord sat back on his Garud chariot, Vahan, praised by the demigods, and went back to his abode. And Gajendra eventually got liberation and got out of this material existence, which was what he had prayed in these wonderful prayers. So it is said that anybody who wakes up early in the morning and concentrates his mind on the form, the Trikuta, on the Lord's form, hears this pastime, focuses on the Trikuta mountain, all the surroundings, the lakes, the gardens, the features, the ornaments, they get completely free from the sinful reactions. And those who recite the prayers that was recited by Gajendra, they get eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their life. So Gajendra ki jai. So we'll conclude with a few lessons that we have learned from this particular pastime. Obviously, it was a very brief one. I've just touched upon the important aspects. There are more details in Bhagavatam and in the purports that Prabhupada gives us. But from this amazing pastime, there are 4 takeaways. There could be more, but a lot of 4 important takeaways. Again, one that is consistent with the previous Lila of Vritrasur and Chitraketu, which I wanted to reaffirm, is that danger can come at any step in this material world. Just when Gajendra was enjoying and least expecting any problems, the crocodile came and snapped him up. Just when Maharaj Indradyumna was in the ashram, his own cottage, meditating on the Supreme Lord in the vow of silence, just then Agastya Muni came, and unfortunately, with no fault of his, he was cursed. So the point is, danger is there at every step. But if we are seriously progressing in our spiritual life, we take the so-called reverses that is happening in our life as the mercy of the Lord. If we fight against it, if we try to counteract it, if we try to ask the Lord benedictions to not let that happen, is going against the will of Krishna. So we should, from these pastimes, understand that whatever is going on in our life is as per the will of Krishna and is for our benefit. We should have firm faith in this conviction, and then we'll be able to handle all the crises or all the problems that come into our life and existence. So that's number 1. Number 2, in this material world, everybody is proud of their material opulences. Everybody is wanting to enjoy their senses, forgetting that all these opulences, all these resources for sense gratification is actually coming from Krishna himself. And because we are so engrossed in sense gratification, we forget who is the source of these resources that are being provided by us. So Krishna puts us, or sometimes we go through these emergency situations in our lives to make us realize that we are being maintained by Krishna. Everything is coming from him. All the opulences that we are enjoying today is from him. And when these crisis moments come, only then we focus and turn our attention more strongly towards the Supreme Lord. Just like Gajendra, he was a devotee in his past life. but because of the quality of opulence that he experienced as the king of elephants, he completely, for the moment or for that particular period of time, forgot about the Supreme Lord. But when the Lord put him in that condition of helplessness, he instantly remembered. And so spiritual knowledge or spiritual advancement never goes in vain. It carries again from one birth to another. So we don't have anything to fear. There may be danger, there may be material opulences that we are experiencing, but the point is we should always remember, glorify, and worship the Supreme Lord. And that is our only level of, only way of keeping us sane in this insane material world. That's number 2. Number 3, perhaps the most important aspect personally. Catch hold of the right person at the right time, and thou shall be delivered. So the crocodile had no qualification or intent of being liberated or of meeting the Supreme Lord. But somehow or the other, he caught hold of the right foot of a devotee of the Lord. And on account of catching hold of the foot, and he caught the foot how? Very tightly. He just wouldn't let go. So the Lord, he didn't come for the crocodile. He actually came for Gajendra. But because the crocodile was connected strongly to Gajendra, he got liberated. So similarly, we might not have the qualification, but Srila Prabhupada, he is intimately connected to Krishna. Our spiritual masters intimately connected to Srila Prabhupada. So our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, says that as devotees, we have to remember one thing. Come what may, never ever leave the dhoti of Srila Prabhupada. Hold it to it tight, whatever else you do. Never let it go. So if we hold on to the right person and hold it tightly, Lord will shower his benediction on us one day or the other. So catch hold of the right person at the right time. And the last, devotional service never goes in vain. It is always carried from one life to another. Nehabhikrama nashasti pratyavayana vidyate. Swalpasya alpasya dharmasya tayate mahatu bhayat. So 2 of the lessons have been consistent with that Lila and with this Lila, and so I chose this to do this in that series. That danger is there in every step, number 1. So we must know that whatever is happening to us as per the will of the Lord, and accept it. Number 2, we should not be proud of our material opulence and flaunt it, knowing fully well it is coming from Krishna, and as per Krishna's will, it can be taken away from us at any moment. Number 3, catch hold of the pure devotee of the Lord and hold it tightly. The Lord will shower his benediction on us and we'll reach our ultimate destination, whether or not we are qualified. Number 4, devotional service never goes in vain. Anything that we perform, even a little bit, is always carried forward. Always carried forward. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gajendra Moksh Lila ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.